Welcome back. I will now be previewing Sunday's and Monday's games of Week 13 of the NFL. Starting with the Pittsburgh Steelers heading into Atlanta to take on the Falcons. The Steelers are sitting at 4-7, while the Falcons are sitting at 5-7. I'm going to give the edge to the Falcons in this one. They're in a very weak NFC South division. I believe this should be a winnable game for them, so they can continue their hunt with the Buccaneers for that NFC South crown. Denver Broncos are heading into Baltimore to take on the Ravens. The Broncos have been struggling to say the least. The season has not gone as expected. They're sitting at 3-8, while the Ravens are in contention to get the AFC North title in a battle with the Bengals. They are sitting at 7-4. I'm going to give the edge to Lamar Jackson. I just believe they have a better overall team, and they should get their 8th win of the season. Green Bay Packers are taking on the Chicago Bears in an NFC North battle. In years past, I'd say the Packers should easily dominate this one, but this has been a truly down season for the Packers, to say the least. I didn't expect them to be where they're at. They are sitting at 4-8, while the Bears are just a game behind them at 3-9. I'm going to give the edge to Chicago in this one. I believe they'll finally get the win over the Packers that they've wanted forever. It seems as though that the Green Bay has had their numbers in seasons past, but I believe that Justin Fields should get the victory in this one. The Jacksonville Jaguars are heading into the Lions' den to take on the Detroit Lions. Both these teams are sitting at 4-7. For both these teams, obviously, this is pretty much a lost cause when it comes to this season. The Jaguars have shown improvements. Obviously, got a huge, stunning win last week against the Ravens, while the Lions are just trying to keep pace for that second place spot in the NFC North. I'm going to give the edge to the Jaguars in this one. I just believe that they should get the victory. Trevor Lawrence has shown signs of brilliance, and obviously he has shown signs of inconsistency as well. But that's the same with Jared Goff. I just believe that the better quarterback in this matchup should be Lawrence, and they should get their 5th win of the season. Quite possibly the most anticipated matchup all weekend, yes. The Cleveland Browns are taking the Houston Texans. And no, it's not a bragging right as to who can have a better record, who's going to make the postseason. For me personally, neither team should make the postseason. The Browns are sitting at 4-7, while the Texans have the worst record in all of football at 1-9-1. The reason this is intriguing is because in the offseason, the Texans traded away their then star quarterback, Deshaun Watson, to the Cleveland Browns. And now that he is done with his suspensions, he is making his season debut against his former team. I believe there will be some hostility. I'm sure there'll be some boos, to say the least, but I believe that the Browns will get the victory in this matchup. The New York Jets are heading into Minnesota. Both these teams are extremely good. The Jets are sitting at 7-4. They're trying to keep pace for a wild card spot or even a AFC East title, depending on how things play out with the Bills and obviously the Patriots and the Dolphins. It's crazy to think that almost all those teams in the AFC East are having as much success as they are having. And speaking of success, Minnesota is basically going to lock down this division with either this week's win or next week's win. They're sitting at 9-2. I'm going to give the edge to Kirk Cousins in this one. I truly believe that the Vikings are on a mission to prove that they are a very dangerous team in the NFC. An NFC East matchup between the Washington Commanders and the New York Football Giants. I never would have guessed that in Week 13 both these teams would be where they're at, but as fate would have it, both these teams have 7 wins. Obviously, the Commanders have 5 losses, while the Giants only have 4. I'm going to give the edge to the Commanders in this one. No disrespect to the Giants, they just seem to be on a roll. There's something about that Taylor Heineke kid that you can't take him for granted. And I just believe they have a very good team. I could easily bite my tongue and the Giants could blow them out. But the Commanders, I don't know what it is about this team. Maybe just because of the name change, but they seem to be doing extremely well. Tennessee Titans are taking on the Philadelphia Eagles. Both these teams are playing well. Both these teams should be contending for their respective division crowns, as the Titans are sitting at 7-4, while the Eagles are sitting at 10-1. And what's possibly going to be the biggest matchup is going to have A.J. Brown taking on his former team. Obviously, he got traded away to the Eagles in the offseason, and now he's facing his former team. I'm going to give the edge to the Eagles. I just believe that they are an unbelievably fascinating team. I mean, the fact that they're 10-1, and I don't know, this team just blows me away. I just can't believe how well they are. Something about Justin Fields, I guess. But yeah, we'll give the edge to the Eagles in this matchup. The Seattle Seahawks are heading into Los Angeles to take on the Rams. Matthew Stafford's on the IR. This has been an absolute horrible season for the Rams. It's basically like a Super Bowl hangover. They're coming into this matchup sitting at 3-8, so therefore the playoffs pretty much out of sight at this point. Whereas the Seahawks are sitting at 6-5. They're just a game behind the 49ers for the division lead in that NFC West title. I'm going to give the edge to the Seahawks. Again, a team that surprised both myself and I'm sure everybody else. I thought they'd be the ones sitting at 3-8, to be perfectly honest, but they got some spunk, and there's just something about Geno Smith that everyone's been thinking that he's washed up, but he's not a good starter ever since he lost his starting job in New York, but he's now proven that he can easily take over a team and make them a contender. So I believe the Seahawks should get the victory in this matchup. The Miami Dolphins are heading into San Francisco. Both these teams are playing extremely well, and both these teams are obviously in contention to try and get a division title for each respective club. The Dolphins are sitting at 8-3. The 49ers are sitting at 7-4. I'm going to give the edge to the Dolphins in this one. I believe it's probably going to be a shootout. We have Jimmy G and Tua going head-to-head at the quarterback position. It's just something about the Dolphins again. They just seem to be trying to prove everybody wrong. That the past 2 seasons they've had successful seasons, but weren't able to punch their ticket into the postseason. I believe this is their year to finally get over the hump. Kansas City Chiefs are heading into Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. For the Chiefs, I'm sure this is kind of like a revenge game. Obviously, they lost the championship game last year to the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chiefs are sitting at 9-2. The Bengals are sitting at 7-4. You can't underestimate Patrick Mahomes, but you also can't underestimate Joe Burrow. I'm going to give the edge to the Chiefs in this one. The Chiefs, as I've said many times, as long as they have a healthy Patrick Mahomes under center, they're going to be a contender for the Super Bowl every single year. A battle of the AFC West. One team is trying to get their ticket into the postseason, while the other team is just trying to get back to 500, which is still a few games away. The Chargers are sitting at 6-5, while the Las Vegas Raiders are sitting at 4-7. Give the edge to the Raiders in this one. Even though the Chargers are the better team, they just flukingly last week got a huge win over the Cardinals after they went for that 2-point conversion late in the fourth quarter. I just believe the Raiders are finally now starting to get everything clicking together, their offense, defense, you name it. So I'm going to give the edge to Derek Carr and company to get a victory over the Chargers. The Indianapolis Colts are heading into Dallas to take on the Cowboys. The Colts season pretty much over at this point, 4-7-1. We're already in week 13. If they were to make it a run for a wild card position, they need all the other teams in the AFC West or AFC just to lose. So I just believe this is a lost cause for the Colts, whereas the Cowboys are trying to keep in contention not just for a wild card spot, but obviously trying to keep pace with the Eagles for that NFC East crown. I'm going to give the edge to Dak. I just believe that he's on a mission this year to prove that in years past he's had great seasons, but just to come up short in the playoffs, I believe he's on a mission to try and prove everybody wrong, and that the Cowboys should be able to get past the first round, I would hope, for the season. And the Monday night game between two NFC South foes and the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That's probably the weakest division in football. Both these teams are below 500. The Saints are at 4-8, while the Buccaneers are sitting at 5-6. I'm going to give the edge to the Buccaneers in this matchup. I just can't see Brady losing consistently 2 games here, 3 games there from here on out. I just believe that he's probably understanding that he can't afford to lose any more games because otherwise either the Saints or the Falcons could easily catch up to them for that division title. So for the Monday night game, I'll give the edge to Tampa Bay and the Buccaneers. Until next time, take care.